You think you've seen betrayal in wrestling? You think the bloodline storylines have shown you what family destruction looks like? Well, throw everything you thought you knew out the window because what I'm about to tell you will absolutely shatter your perception of loyalty, brotherhood, and trust. Jimmy Uso has just filed for divorce from Naomi, and the reason behind it is so devastating, so unthinkable, that it makes every wrestling storyline pale in comparison to this real-life nightmare. We're talking about the ultimate family betrayal, his own twin brother Jey Uso and his wife Naomi allegedly having an affair behind his back. Yes, you heard that correctly. The woman Jimmy trusted with his heart, his life, his future, and the brother he shared a womb with, have allegedly been carrying on a secret relationship that has now exploded into the most scandalous story in WWE history. This isn't some wrestling storyline cooked up in a writer's room. This is real life, and it's messier and more heartbreaking than any script could ever be. According to multiple sources close to the situation, Jimmy discovered the affair through a series of text messages and photos that were accidentally left open on a shared laptop. Imagine the absolute devastation of scrolling through what you think are innocent family photos only to discover intimate messages between your wife and your twin brother. The betrayal runs so deep that it's reportedly been going on for over 8 months. 8 months of lies, deception, and Jimmy being played for a fool by the two people he trusted most in this world. While he was out there performing night after night, giving everything he had for the WWE Universe, his own family was stabbing him in the back in the most personal way imaginable. But here's what makes this story even more infuriating: sources suggest that other family members knew about this affair and said nothing. Can you imagine the level of disrespect? Jimmy was apparently the last to know about his own wife's betrayal, walking around like an idiot while everyone around him was in on the secret. The way Jimmy found out is almost too cruel to believe. According to insider reports, it happened during what was supposed to be a family celebration dinner after a successful SmackDown taping. Jimmy had borrowed Jey's laptop to show some family photos to relatives when he accidentally opened the wrong folder. What he saw there destroyed his entire world in an instant. Pictures of Jey and Naomi together in compromising situations, screenshots of their secret conversations planning meetups while Jimmy was traveling for shows, and worst of all, messages where they were actually laughing about how oblivious Jimmy was to what was happening right under his nose. The level of disrespect and cruelty in those messages is reportedly so bad that even hardened wrestling industry veterans who have seen everything are shocked by the callousness displayed. One source described Jimmy's reaction as absolutely heartbroken and enraged beyond anything I've ever witnessed. They said he immediately confronted both Jey and Naomi right there at the dinner table in front of the entire family. Can you imagine that scene? The screaming, the accusations, the complete destruction of what was once a tight-knit family unit, all happening in real time as Jimmy's entire world collapsed around him. But what makes this betrayal even more disgusting is how long they had been planning it. Messages allegedly show that Jey and Naomi had been discussing leaving Jimmy and going public with their relationship for months. They were just waiting for the right time to destroy his life completely. The Uso family has always presented themselves as this unbreakable unit, this example of Samoan family values and loyalty. But behind the scenes, this betrayal has revealed cracks that go much deeper than anyone could have imagined. Family members are reportedly choosing sides, with some supporting Jimmy and others trying to play peacemaker in an impossible situation. Roman Reigns, who has always been the family patriarch figure, is reportedly furious about the situation. Sources say he feels personally betrayed because he had been promoting the Uso brothers as examples of family loyalty while this disgusting affair was going on behind everyone's back. The damage to the family's reputation and the bloodline storyline's credibility is something WWE executives are apparently scrambling to address. But here's what really shows you how deep this betrayal goes: Jey apparently had been using his position as Jimmy's tag team partner and twin brother to facilitate the affair. He had access to Jimmy's schedule, knew when he would be traveling alone, and used that information to arrange secret meetups with Naomi. Your own twin brother using your trust and your partnership to cheat with your wife. Is there anything more disgusting than that? The most infuriating part is that Jey had been acting like the concerned brother, asking Jimmy about his marriage and offering relationship advice, all while he was actively destroying that same marriage from the inside. The level of psychological manipulation involved here is absolutely sickening. Jimmy's divorce filing is reportedly one of the most comprehensive and devastating legal documents ever filed by a WWE superstar. His legal team isn't holding back, they're going for everything. Full custody of the children, complete financial separation, and they're demanding that Naomi return every gift, piece of jewelry, and investment that Jimmy made in their relationship over the years. But the legal strategy goes even deeper than typical divorce proceedings. Jimmy's lawyers are reportedly investigating whether Jey used WWE resources or company time to facilitate the affair. If they can prove that WWE property, travel arrangements, or company communications were used to carry on this relationship, it could lead to serious consequences for both Jey and Naomi's WWE careers. The financial implications alone are staggering. Jimmy and Naomi had significant joint investments, shared business ventures, and combined assets that are now being torn apart in what promises to be one of the messiest celebrity divorces in recent memory. Real estate holdings, merchandise deals, appearance fees, everything is on the table and up for grabs. What makes this legal battle even more complicated is that Jimmy and Jey have shared business interests as a tag team. Merchandise deals, booking agreements, and sponsorship contracts that involve both brothers are now in jeopardy because of this personal betrayal. WWE executives are reportedly working around the clock to figure out how to handle contracts and storylines that suddenly involve two people who can't stand to be in the same room together. From WWE's perspective, this situation is an absolute disaster that threatens multiple storylines, business relationships, and the company's carefully crafted image. The Bloodline has been the centerpiece of WWE programming for years, and now one of its core components is imploding in the most public and embarrassing way possible. Sources within WWE say that emergency meetings have been happening daily to figure out how to handle this situation. Do they write it into storylines? Do they ignore it completely? How do you continue using Jey Uso in Bloodline storylines when everyone knows he destroyed his own brother's marriage? The creative challenges alone are giving writers and executives massive headaches. But the business implications go far beyond creative concerns. The Usos as a tag team were massive merchandise sellers and had significant sponsorship deals that are now in serious jeopardy. Companies don't want to be associated with family-destroying adultery scandals, and several sponsors are reportedly reconsidering their relationships with anyone involved in this mess. The worst part for WWE is that they had no idea this was happening. While they were pushing storylines about family loyalty and bloodline unity, their real-life performers were engaged in the kind of behavior that makes the company look foolish for promoting them as role models. The disconnect between the on-screen characters and the real-life people is now so obvious that it's embarrassing for everyone involved. The wrestling community's reaction on social media has been absolutely explosive, with fans expressing everything from shock to disgust to complete outrage at the betrayal. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are flooded with opinions, and the majority of them are absolutely destroying Jey Uso and Naomi for their actions. Fan-created content is going viral daily, with people making comparison videos showing Jimmy and Jey's tag team moments while knowing about the affair, and the comments are absolutely brutal. People are calling for boycotts of any storylines involving Jey, demanding that WWE remove him from programming, and some are even calling for him to be completely fired from the company. The hashtags #JusticeForJimmy and #BetrayalTwins are trending regularly, with fans sharing their own stories of family betrayal and expressing solidarity with Jimmy's situation. But there's also a darker side to the social media reaction, with some fans taking things too far and making threatening comments that have reportedly required security intervention. What's particularly interesting is how other WWE performers are handling this on social media. Most are staying completely silent, but a few have posted cryptic messages that seem to show support for Jimmy without directly addressing the situation. The wrestling community is clearly divided on how to handle this unprecedented personal drama involving active performers. Beyond all the legal battles, business complications, and public drama, what gets lost sometimes is the sheer human devastation of what Jimmy Uso is going through. This isn't just about a cheating spouse or even a disloyal brother, this is about having your entire reality shattered by the two people you trusted most in the world. Mental health experts who have commented on the situation describe it as one of the most psychologically damaging forms of betrayal possible. When your twin brother, someone who shared your mother's womb, conspires with your wife to destroy your marriage, it attacks your ability to trust your own judgment about people. How do you ever trust anyone again when the people closest to you were capable of this level of deception? Friends close to Jimmy describe him as completely devastated but trying to stay strong for his children. The impact on the kids is something that adds another layer of tragedy to this whole situation. They've lost their stable family unit, and they're now caught in the middle of a battle between adults who should have been protecting them from this kind of drama. What makes the psychological impact even worse is that Jimmy has to continue performing in front of crowds while dealing with this personal nightmare. Imagine having to go out there and entertain people while your personal life is falling apart, knowing that everyone in the audience probably knows about your family's betrayal. The strength required to do that is almost incomprehensible. This scandal isn't just affecting the immediate people involved, it's sending shockwaves throughout the entire WWE roster and creating uncomfortable situations for everyone. Other tag teams are being asked in interviews how they maintain trust with their partners. Family-based storylines are being questioned for their authenticity. The whole concept of family loyalty in wrestling storylines has been damaged by this real-life betrayal. Female performers are reportedly being extra cautious about their interactions with married male wrestlers, knowing that any innocent friendship could be misinterpreted in light of this scandal. The paranoia and suspicion that this situation has created is affecting the entire workplace culture at WWE. Veteran wrestlers who have seen everything in their careers are saying this is unlike anything they've ever witnessed. The combination of family betrayal, adultery, and public humiliation happening to active performers while they're still expected to maintain their professional obligations is unprecedented in wrestling history. Even wrestlers from other promotions are being asked to comment on the situation, showing just how far the impact of this betrayal has reached throughout the entire wrestling industry. It's become impossible to ignore or avoid, and everyone with any connection to professional wrestling is being forced to have an opinion about it. Looking ahead, the long-term consequences of this betrayal are going to reshape multiple lives and careers in ways that are still being discovered. Jimmy's wrestling career will undoubtedly continue, but he'll forever be known as the victim of one of wrestling's most public family betrayals. That's a narrative that will follow him for the rest of his professional life. Jey Uso's career prospects are much more uncertain. While WWE might continue using him because of his talent and storyline value, his reputation among fans and peers has been permanently damaged. The wrestling community has a long memory, and being known as the brother who destroyed his twin's marriage is not something that's easily forgiven or forgotten. For Naomi, the situation is equally complex. Her in-ring career might continue, but she'll always be associated with this scandal. Female fans, in particular, have been especially harsh in their criticism, viewing her actions as a betrayal not just of her husband but of the trust that comes with being part of a wrestling family. The children involved in this situation face the most uncertain future of all. Growing up with this public scandal as part of their family history, dealing with the aftermath of their parents' divorce, and potentially having limited contact with extended family members who chose sides in this conflict. Their lives have been permanently altered by the selfish actions of the adults who should have been protecting them. Wrestling industry insiders are calling this situation a watershed moment that could change how companies handle personal relationships between performers. The fact that a personal betrayal could have such massive business implications has executives across multiple promotions reconsidering their policies regarding romantic relationships between talent. Some are suggesting that wrestling companies might need to implement stricter guidelines about personal relationships, similar to policies in traditional corporate environments. Others argue that trying to control performers' personal lives would be an overreach that could create even bigger problems. What's clear is that this situation has demonstrated how quickly personal drama can destroy carefully constructed storylines and business relationships. The interconnected nature of wrestling, where personal relationships directly impact professional storylines, makes situations like this particularly devastating for everyone involved. The wrestling media has also been forced to grapple with how to cover this story responsibly while still providing the coverage that fans are demanding. Balancing respect for the personal trauma involved while acknowledging the legitimate business and storyline implications has proven challenging for wrestling journalists and content creators. This story represents everything that makes wrestling both fascinating and heartbreaking: the blurred lines between personal and professional life, the real emotions behind scripted storylines, and the human cost of living your life in the public eye. Jimmy Uso's situation reminds us that behind every wrestling character is a real person dealing with real problems and real pain. The betrayal by Jey Uso and Naomi isn't just a wrestling scandal, it's a human tragedy that happens to involve people we watch on television every week. The violation of trust, the destruction of family bonds, and the public humiliation involved create a story that's more devastating than any wrestling storyline could ever be. As this situation continues to develop, we'll undoubtedly learn more details about how this betrayal unfolded and what the long-term consequences will be for everyone involved. But what we already know is enough to understand that this represents one of the most significant personal scandals in wrestling history. The wrestling community's response to this situation will likely define how similar situations are handled in the future, and the careers of everyone involved will be forever shaped by these events. Jimmy Uso deserves our support as he navigates this incredibly difficult period, while Jey Uso and Naomi will have to live with the consequences of their actions for the rest of their careers and their lives. What do you think about this devastating betrayal? How should WWE handle this situation moving forward? And what consequences should Jey and Naomi face for destroying Jimmy's life? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is a story that demands discussion and accountability. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.